guess, can you say happy D-Day? Because it's the anniversary of D-Day, and you kind of want to say happy there, but it's also like, a kind of a happy tragic thing. So in memory to everybody who participated in that and all of the craziness that happened back in the 1940s, it is June 6th, and that is kind of the way we're going to start things off today. I also managed to splash my screen, dude, because even though it's only 10:45, I'm ready to roll.
Oh, jeez. No, absolutely not. I had a long one yesterday.
Yeah, mine has some fruit in it, so I feel like it's okay to have for breakfast, right? So it is also
still coffee.
There you go. Just don't burn yourself this time, buddy.
It is also look at the logo, even.
Yeah, that's the right logo to put up on there. Yeah, and we do not have merch yet, but one of these days we'll get to a point where someone actually wants to buy our stuff. We'll go there. It's also National Eyewear Day, which I will be taking part in because I will 100% be wearing sunglasses later if I go outside because it's too bright for anything like that.
Where did you find this information? Who knows?
There's a website, right? There's a website called nationaltoday.com that has all of the days, and I'm not kidding you. There is Memorial Day in South Korea, National Applesauce Cake Day, National Black Bear Day, National Bubbly Day. I opened
up this can of worms,
didn't I? It's insane. I will tell you this, National Prairie Day today, so go out and get on a prairie, I suppose, if you're there.
Maybe I'll have a prairie artesian ales later.
Go. National Trails Day, you appreciate that, hiking on trails. Okay. The one that I did not realize is a thing. This is definitely a UK thing according to this website. Apparently today is also the big lunch over in the UK. It is the first weekend of June every year. It's basically a thing in the UK, according to this site. You basically get together with your community and have a big old lunch. So, good excuse to get around and actually be nice to your neighbors. So I guess, we lost a few things in the war of independence. And apparently one of those things was we do not have Big Lunch Day. But for those of you overseas, if you're listening to this, right, exactly. For those of you overseas who are listening to this, enjoy Big Lunch Day. I'm going to enjoy my big beer, and we are going to enjoy talking about the last of our divisions in our look back to 2023. And it has been enlightening. There are some teams that you're like, I understand why they're in trouble 3 years later. And there's other teams that are like, somehow they overcame a really bad draft class.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel like for the most part, we'll see when we're done. And I wish I would have taken some notes, like about how, because when we first started this, I didn't keep the notes of my grades for the whole draft class. I'm only going by memory on that, unless I feel like going back and listening to that episode, Right. But for the most part, so far, I feel pretty good about the ones that we graded well. Mm-hmm. It ended up being pretty damn good.
Yeah, I don't think we've only had a handful.
Didn't work out well.
Right. We've only had a handful of whiffs, but I think what this has been educational for me again, now that because this is the first time that we've done the spreadsheet the way that you've made it. And so being color coding, seeing as you go through this kind of has really given me some perspective on how absolutely god-awful these teams are at drafting.
It's a hard thing for a lot of people.
But again, that's the thing. They've been doing this for years, right? Teams have poured so much into this, so many resources, all kinds of stuff. And here we have so many guys that don't pan out. Now, and again, we know, obviously, with rosters, you're not going to have your entire draft class necessarily, unless you're the Rams, end up on your team 3 years later. But it still shows how much variance there is. And again, this is why I really love, and I don't usually talk to the wife too much about football because, it's not her thing. But I was talking last night. There's a reason why we have busts, but also wastes. And I think this is going to help us take a look at some of the teams that may have wasted some talent as we do that show a little later on in the offseason. NFC South, though, who we start with?
All right. The Bucs, always. Always the Bucs. Dude, you know what? I almost feel like this whole class is just white in a way. You'll find out why here in a second.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's talking about one that we appear to be wrong on. I think there's still time, but... First round pick, man, Kalijah Kancey. We both were very high on him.
Yeah, he seemed like one of those still penetrating tackles, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's still starting there. I just don't think he's, lived up to the 19th overall pick. No. I think there's still time to do that. Like, I'm not going to call him red, but he's certainly not green either. So
well, and he's another guy. I think the reason why he needs to be white is because he had 4 sacks as a rookie, had 7.5 as a second guy, and then you think he's going to make the leap, and then he gets hurt. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough.
So we'll see. I mean, and like I said, if he were a second round pick, this would be green all day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's just this is the 19th. It's a top 20 pick.
Right.
Second round here. I'm going to go ahead and call this one green. I mean, I don't know. You look at like, excuse me, something creeping up there.
There you go.
You look at some of those PFF grades a lot more than I do. I don't know how Cody Mock grades out, but I know he starts at right guard for them, and I watch a lot of Bucs football, and I like him. So, and I liked him as a prospect. So
I will tell you this:
call it green.
And again, he's another guy. He's another guy who got hurt, right? And so he didn't play much last season, but he had a really good. His first year was rough, as a lot of offensive linemen's first year in the NFL is rough. But he had a really good,
especially coming from a small school. Yeah, right. I like I Mock. I'm good with it.
And I
can
like
call it
that
light green if you want, but
it looks like his picture on PFF. He definitely is missing his two front teeth.
Yeah, 100%.
Respect that.
I like it. Yep. Third round pick, a guy that I absolutely loved at the combine and thought was a workout warrior that was worth a developmental piece. And I think that's basically he's developed to what I think he's going to be. He's going to be a solid rotational pass rusher. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like. There's no way he can be your one. Maybe he can be a two in a pinch, but I think he's really just that third edge rusher.
Right. It's fine for them now because now they have a one in Ruben Payne.
Anyways, for a third round pick, though, a guy who's got as much playing time as he has at a position like that, I mean, I still think it's definitely closer to green.
As a third round guy who's giving you 7.5 sacks, 4.5 sacks, 7 sacks, yeah, you put him in.
I'm gonna call it
green.
green.
With that. I'm fine with that.
Fifth round, another guy that I would call green. He's got a solid amount of playing time. Servoka Dennis from Pittsburgh, linebacker. For a fifth round pick, he's got a lot of playing time. Again, I don't think you want him to be one of your starting guys, but he's a hell of a player to have on your team. And as a fifth round pick, I don't know that they were expecting him to be a starter. So
yeah, he's an interesting case for me because he did start all of last year, and they still took Josiah.
He didn't want it though.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm okay with you putting him as a green because of where he got picked, but he's kind of borderline for me. Because
that's the only reason
anytime
why.
You bring in someone to take someone's job, it's not a ringing endorsement of the job they did.
I mean, it kind of goes same story-ish with Payne Durham. And the next pick is still in the fifth round here at 171. I mean, he's still on the team 3 years later. He contributes in some rotational things, some special teams. Sure. I mean, what are you expecting from a fifth-round tight end? Right. You know what I mean? It's certainly not red. I don't know that I'm going to call him green because Dennis and Diaby have gotten a lot more playing time, but he's 100% white. He can't be red. Sure. He's on the team with him 3 years later.
I'm fine with him being the white distinction, but he's gotten 17 catches in 3 years. So he's basically turned into a blocking tight end that plays some special teams, which is a contribution on a roster. Yeah. But he can't be considered a great pick.
Nope.
If you're still on the team, though, that's a win in the fifth round.
Josh Haynes, I mean, this is sixth round. It's 1 round later than Payne Durham, but it's the exact same story. This is a guy who's not a starter. He's the second string guy. He's still on the team as a 6th round pick 3 years later. That's white all day. It can't be red if you're still there that late. You know what I mean? But now it's where we get to. So you get those rounds 1 through 6. Like, the only one I feel confident in calling a green, I don't know, I guess maybe Mock and Diaby, but you get it. Like, there's nobody you're pounding the table saying green.
Right.
But, like, there's no reds there.
No, they have contributors.
So, like, they had a solid draft, just not a great one.
Right.
You know
and
what
again,
I mean? But
and that's the thing. What's the difference between solid and great for them? The difference between solid and great for them is literally the injuries. In this case.
Yeah, because if Kalijah Kancey ends up
right.
being a stud D tackle, if Mock doesn't get hurt and hit starting every snap.
Right.
Yeah. In your third round, you get a pass rusher who's averaging about 7 sacks a year. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's the injuries and Kancey, but I still think there's an opportunity for this to be a great draft. But last 2 picks, real quick. We got Trey Palmer, wide receiver from Nebraska, who I liked kind of a decent amount for taking the shot, but this can't be even white. I mean, he's on the Saints now, right? And this is still the 6th round, and even their last pick's in the 6th round. And that's Jose Ramirez, who I absolutely loved as a developmental type guy. Heck, I remember Daniel Jeremiah, once upon a time, was mocking him late 1st round, even 2nd round, towards
which is
closer
so
to the
hilarious.
I was like,
That was a
whoa,
bit
I
much.
like him a lot as a
Right.
developmental guy. I don't know. He was day 3 all day for me, but he's with the Eagles now. So that's a
Right.
red pick too. So they closed it out with 2 reds. I think that's fine. Solid draft, just not great.
Yeah, which again might win the division. We'll see what happens coming off some of the other teams. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about, I got to rip the Band-Aid off, is the New Orleans Saints. And in the first round,
Hey, they got Trey Palmer now.
They do have Trey Palmer now. They also have Brian Brzee still on the team. Here's the thing. He's not red because he is a starter. However, he's been below average his entire career. He's had 14.5 sacks from the inside, which is a nice number. He's had 19 tackles for a loss from the inside, which is a nice number. But his tackling and run defense grades, the man somehow, despite the 19 tackles for a loss and 14.5 sacks, is basically a matador, like dodging running backs or something. I don't know. It's almost like he's just basically his mindset as a defensive tackle is go forward and don't pay attention to what's happening around you, because it seems like he's only interested in hitting a guy behind the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Everything else is just not in his brain, right? And so he is starting for the Saints, and so I can't give him a red because he is a starter. And it seems like he's a guy who might get another contract from them, albeit not a big one, but still, his analytics are just terrible because he's missing tackles. It seems like he's focused on penetration, and that is it. And that is not a well-rounded player. So I guess if you pair him, and when you look at their roster and who else they have, Devon Godchaux and Nathan Shepard are there. Christian Miller could come into that. No, if you have guys next to him that can handle the run, maybe it'll be helpful, but he's just such a weird anomaly, and clearly not the guy I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be a game wrecker, and instead he just kind of wrecks in moments and then disappears in others. In the second round, 9th overall pick, Isaiah Foskey. Remember Isaiah Foskey? Remember how we liked Isaiah Foskey as an interesting choice because he had 2 back-to-back 11-sack years for Notre Dame and seemed like he was a interesting tweener sort of guy who could play big, could play outside, could do all kinds of stuff. 29 total tackles in his time with the Saints.
Not what you want.
No, he got cut at the start of 2025. He is now playing for the Bengals. Just to give you some perspective on where he went.
Their whole D-line / edge rusher room is just interesting, man.
That's
they just
the nice
keep taking shots and just not hitting.
That's the nice way of putting it.
Who do they have now? Your boy Howell?
Yeah, well, hey, look, I'll take Howell over the rest of those guys. Short arms and all.
Yeah, sure. Me too.
That gives you an idea where they're at. Next player on their list, and I'll be honest with you, dude, I took notes on every player, and somehow I skipped like half of New Orleans. So it's going to be a little more in the moment for me with some of this stuff. But Kendre Miller, who you were a huge fan of coming out of TCU as a 3rd-round pick.
He's just Mr. Glass. Literally, Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Just cannot stay healthy.
Feeling for him because he's had opportunities, right? He is still on the roster. He's buried on the roster. They have, we talk about the running back rooms for certain teams, right? I think Arizona, we talked about how hilarious their running back room looks now that they've added in Love. The running back room at the moment for New Orleans is Travis Etienne, sorry. Travis Etienne. Travis something.
No, it's literally pronounced as Devin Etienne.
Same thing.
That's
Travis Cajun.
Good luck with that now.
Right. Alvin Kamara, Devin Neal, Kendre Miller, Audric Estime. All 5 guys that we kind of don't mind as running backs.
Dude, I really
they don't know what they're
Estime.
doing. Yeah, well, right, yeah. But again, they have the most infuriating naming scheme of any running back room. That much I'll tell you. At any rate, he is still on the team. They're still waiting for him to do something, but he would not surprise me. Look, if Miller gets like 100 carries and 40 catches this year, or gets cut before
that will
the
never
end
happen.
of the season,
he can't get to 30 carries before he gets hurt.
That's my point. Anything
including
is possible.
Practice carries,
right? Anything is possible with him, and I don't think it's not looking good, is my point. But he could easily be anything for this team, and it wouldn't surprise me, right? Nick Saldiveri was the next pick for the Saints. They grabbed him in the 4th round with the first pick, 103 overall, and he basically failed the physical. Lingering knee injury, put him on the PUP list. He played like 6 starts, I think, played in like 15 games, obviously that's a red because you're not on the team anymore. Yes, it's injury, but still, you're done. And can't do much with that, right? Jake Haener. Remember Jake Haener?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback out of Fresno. Seemed like a fun flyer as a backup. Well, he's not a backup for them right now because Haener, I think he made it through about 2 seasons, maybe? But he's been cut by the Chiefs. He was cut. It never panned out, right? He did get waived in May, so just recently, right? And then bounced around he was on the Saints practice squad for a bit. Point is, he was always a bit of a long shot as a later round quarterback anyways. He was one of those gamers who didn't necessarily have the physical traits that you wanted to have at that position. And it kind of showed up how that worked out, right? Jordan Howden in the 5th round, DB from Minnesota. And on a team that has a good but not great secondary, he's still on the team. He's a backup. He's in the white, right? He's not a red. If you're still on a team, I'm still going to give you credit for that. But again, he's a backup, and he hasn't been able to supplant Justin Reed. He's kind of right there, and he's going to be fighting with Lorenzo Styles Jr. kind of for that 3rd safety spot, so to speak. But he's also not a nickel. He's just a backup safety, which in the 6th round, can't really complain too much about that. And then one of the picks that you and I both thought was fun, right? A.T. Perry. Going in the 6th round.
Gosh. I love that.
He was such a fun flyer in the 6th round with the 18th pick. Here's the thing. It didn't work.
Didn't work.
It's a shame because I'm still not exactly quite sure.
I would still take that shot every day. Where they took him, I would still take it.
Yeah, I don't understand exactly why it didn't work out. He is, according to the AI world, right? He is technically on the roster for Pittsburgh right now, which I'm confirming by taking a peek at the moment. But he's a long, kind of skinny, wide receiver who he's a depth piece right now for Pittsburgh. So I'll be curious to see if he can find a way to hang on there. But they don't make him his size. Like he's 6'4", mind you, 6'4" and like $190. So
yeah,
dude needs some cheeseburgers. But he's obviously a red for Atlanta, for New Orleans. But it seemed like there was an opportunity for him on that team. It just didn't pan out. And again, that's how it goes. So you see, certain guys go to certain situations. Puka was a 6th rounder, right? 5th rounder, 6th rounder.
5th or 6th, yeah.
Yeah, and look at what happened with him. A.T. Perry, same round, I think, or close to it. Look what didn't happen for him. It's crazy. This is the NFL. That's why we love it.
All right. That's the last one?
That's Carolina now. Yeah.
All right. Carolina time. So Carolina's going to be kind of quick, man. They only had 5 picks, okay? Right. Had the number 1 overall pick in this draft, Bryce Young. So the Bears absolutely fleeced the Panthers on this. I still firmly believe that. There's no world, despite Bryce Young looking better than he has his entire career, like he's gotten a hell of a lot better and looks like he could be there. At least they're going to figure out if he's going to be the quarterback of the future. You know what I mean? Like he's playing fairly well.
Right. But quick reminder for everybody.
He is not playing like the 1st overall pick or worth what the hell they gave up for him.
And that's my point. Quick reminder.
He's white, but... Oof.
Right. They gave up, they swapped their first, right? So they swapped back 10th or whatever, the 1st round pick. They gave up a 2nd rounder in 2023, a 1st rounder in 24, a 2nd rounder in 25, and DJ Moore. So if you look at which technically turned into a couple seasons and then a 2nd rounder for the Bears. So the Bears got a 2nd rounder in 2026, a 2nd rounder in 25 they took with Luther Burden, a 24 1st rounder they used for Caleb Williams, a 23 pick with Tyreek Stevenson, and a 23 pick with Darnell Wright. We'll talk about them a little later on, but the Bears won this trade.
By a long shot. Won it so badly that it almost makes me want to say red for this pick, but that's just not fair because he's... No. But I'm telling you, he's
white.
Yeah,
he's white.
But
I agree with that.
No, yes, yeah, but
unless
it's closer to red than green to me when you factor in he was the number 1 overall pick plus all that.
Yeah. And again, that's not Bryce's fault that they traded all that for him, but it's not. He's still responsible for it.
But we're grading the pick, and there's a lot of other stuff that went into this pick, which is why no shot at green.
Does it get better?
No. 2nd round, Jonathan Mingo. No longer on the team. He was traded to the Cowboys, which was crazy because they thought he was just going to be the solution to what they needed. Now, the Panthers won that trade. So
well, and Jonathan Mingo was a guy that I actually liked, right, coming out of college as a bigger bodied wide receiver that could do some things, and he hasn't done any of those things.
Yeah, well, I was not a fan of this one. I think I probably even had A.T. Perry ranked above him, which is crazy because A.T. Perry went like 200 picks later.
Right. But yeah, it was
anyways,
basically
neither one of those guys worked out. Those are red.
No. That was a second rounder, and you got a fourth rounder for him. That already is a red just there.
Mm-hmm. At least you got something.
You got something.
Because it was not working. But it's still red. Third round, DJ Johnson. Okay. He's with the Commanders. That's, again, like it's hard to defend where you're not even on the roster 3 years out. So, I mean, that's red, right?
Sure.
And then Chandler Zavala, a guy that I was extremely high on. This one, I'd be fine with red or white. I mean, I think I lean like that orange-ish because here's the thing. He was going in, even in his rookie year, and was like earning that starting job, had that crazy injury, left the field, like I think it's on a stretcher, or at least left in the ambulance. It's kind of freaky. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't seem like he's been able to stay on the field consistently. I mean, I know he's played some snaps here and there, but ultimately he's a backup.
Yeah.
O-lineman who in the fourth round, which you don't hate that. And it's 3 years out. He's still there. So that's why I'm okay with white.
Right. Well, and here's the thing. If you hadn't been pumping him up so much, right, as someone that you really liked and saw as that pick, I think it's easier to justify the white if you didn't have what you put as the potential for him. So I still think white is fine with him. And again, it's a shame because it really was that second season. It looked like he was, going to start making things happen, and he just didn't. Tough stuff.
Yeah. Very tough stuff. And then the final pick, they only had picks, and that was first, second, third, fourth, fifth round, just clean all each round. Jamie Robinson, a guy that I think we both were super interested from the tape, and then he didn't work out very well. And as we got into the tape more and more, we were out on him. But we were once upon a time in on him. But long story short, I think he's with the Falcons, I want to say.
He's a depth piece for them.
He's with Atlanta. I mean, he's not even on the roster, so that's red too. Let's just say the Panthers are not winning this division. In my opinion, they can't.
No, which again is ironic because they did win technically the division last year as the actual team in the real game of football. But that is just another reminder for how bad the South has been for years now. And again, who knows? They may turn it around sometime soon, and maybe there's going to be a team to come out of there and dominate. But so far, none of the teams are dominating the draft, and that might be part of the reason why this division is perpetually an 8-9 or 9-8 team winning it, which I feel like is probably going to be the case again this year. The team that thinks they can be that team, though, it's the Atlanta Falcons, right? The Dirty Birds made a great pick in the first round. The 8th spot, they grabbed Bijan Robinson. Real quick,
super pick.
3,900 yards rushing, 25 touchdowns. He's also had almost 200 catches, 198 catches, 1,700 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 Pro Bowls, an All-Pro in the 90s and the 80s for his last 2 seasons on PFF. He is, simply put, one of the best running backs in the game right now, which is what we expected him to be coming out of college. So it's fun when a guy actually lives up to his potential and lives up to a top 10 pick as a running back. Now, I know you still like Ashton Jeanty better, but
yes, I do. But I was just going to say in that draft class, I went back and looked at my rankings while you're talking there. I did have him above our boy Gibbs.
Well, right, I did too.
We will also talk about later.
You're not gonna be able to argue Bijan Robinson in any way, shape, or form. The only question now between him and Gibbs, we'll talk about in a bit, is who signed the extension first, because one of them will become the highest paid running back in the league. Right, that's my point. One of them is going to become the highest paid running back in the league, and the next one is going to become the highest paid running back in the league right after him. So neither of them have a great incentive at the moment, but I do believe both of them are going to sign the biggest contracts.
I know this isn't relevant, but kind of relevant for this episode, but regardless, they're both going to re-sign this offseason / early this season. I believe that. Right. They both will. I also believe that it doesn't matter who signs first. I think that Bijan's going to be higher. Not because he's like hands down better or anything. I just think that he's going to be the one that resets the market. I look at it this way. Let's say Gibbs signs first. Bijan's going to sign for more than Gibbs. let's say Bijan signs first. I think Gibbs is still going to be like, yeah, just give me a little bit below that. I don't know, because I think that's what
it's going to be interesting.
The market sees, and I don't think that Gibbs is going to go try to do that. It seems like this crew that they have for the Lions is taking like very team-friendly deals. Like you heard Jack Campbell go, he's like, that's plenty enough money for me. Remember, he cracked a joke and apologized to all the other linebackers for not resetting the market to help them out. Yeah. He's all like, this is more than enough money for me.
I think it's good. But Campbell, again, as a linebacker, feels like he should be able to play into his early to mid 30s without too much trouble. Because Gibbs is a running back, I could see him being a little more anxious at getting his deal this year, though.
See, and I don't want to get too into it because I know we got to talk about the Lions still, but I also don't view Gibbs as just a running back. He's one of those.
And neither do
the way he can catch, like he can play like for a long time, like McCaffrey style.
Well, the Falcons feel the same way about Pigeon, which is why I do feel like they will be the top two paid running backs. Now, the only real question is, will they get more guarantees than technically Jeremiah Love, who has the highest guaranteed contract for a running back in the NFL right now because of the rookie deal is all guaranteed, right?
It's crazy.
All his $53 million is coming to him, so good for him. We're talking about the Falcons. In the second round, they grabbed Matthew Bergeron, who was a tackle in college, and very quickly, as you pointed out, was going to have to be on the inside as a pro, and he 100% has been. That being said, he has been the starting left guard for 3 years for them. Dude's got over 70 the last 2 years in PFF. That's a green. He has been a solid piece on their offensive line, even if he was never really going to be a tackle. Next up for them, in the second or third round, rather, in the 12th pick, Zach Harrison. He's a part-timer, right, through the first couple of years. He was slated to start this season, according to their roster right now, 8.5 sacks, 12 tackles for a loss. He's another one of those players that there is a lot going for him this year because, again, he's a third-round pick. This is the last year of his contract, and he's coming off the injury, right? So any player who's coming off an injury and has had average but not great production is in the crosshairs as this is your year to decide how your career is going to go. So if he has a good year this year, probably gets a second contract from them. If he doesn't, he's going to end up trying to sign a one-year prove-it deal somewhere, most likely. But he does seem like he's trended well enough to where he should at least get a opportunity somewhere else after this. Next pick for them at the 11th pick of the fourth round, they grabbed Clark Phillips. Didn't really like this pick when it happened.
He's too tiny. He was such a good player in college, but he's so small.
And that's the only real knock on him is the size. That being said, I put him in the orange because he missed 2025 with a tricep injury and illness and some other stuff. And whenever anybody says illness as a reason why you miss a chunk of the season, I'm not saying it isn't legit, but that feels like one of those, we didn't really want to have you on the roster anyways this year, so we're going to put you on IR so we can have that spot for somebody else, and we'll see what happens next year. And that's what it feels like. He is a see what happens this year kind of guy. Because again, like you said, he's 5'9", 180, so he's not a big guy, and that is challenging in his own right. He is technically a backup behind A.J. Terrell right now. He's kind of going to be fighting with Mike Hughes, Avion Terrell for that secondary corner spot because Billy Bowman is who they seem to like in the nickel right now. So he is in the mix for both corner and nickel and isn't really feeling like he's the lock for either of those. So this is a weird season for him, too, to try to see if he can pan out, but I don't expect it to. Like Zach Harrison, I think can pan out. Clark Phillips, I don't think can pan out. Finish off their draft class. They had a couple of seventh-rounders. They grabbed DeMarco Hellams, the DB from Alabama, which seemed like a fun flyer at the time. Dude, ankle kept him out of 2024, had an injury at the end of 2025. It was a special teamer last year. He's still on the roster, right? And so I put him in the white because he is technically still a backup safety, but I have no idea what Atlanta's plan for him is. Because, again,
I don't know if Atlanta knows either.
Right. Yeah, when you get injured as much as he does, he's probably going to be a special teamer this year. They may or may not want to have him come in and play actual snaps for them if somebody else gets hurt. But his injury history means this is probably his last season. In the other spot that they had, at the 8th pick of the 7th round, they grabbed Javon Gwynn, who was was a guard out of South Carolina. He is now a backup center for Baltimore. Played a few snaps for Atlanta, never really happened. So he's a Red. So the interesting thing is Atlanta, they had 6 picks. Technically, 4 of the 6 are, white or green, but it still doesn't feel like they had a great draft class outside of Bijan.
I'm on board with that.
That being said,
but that's...
Do they win because of Bijan?
Probably, dude.
I think Tampa has an argument, but
no,
their guys are just too, up and down for that. So
Bijan, I'll take Bijan over their whole draft class. Bijan is that special.
There you go. That covers it. All right, before we jump up to the north and wrap this up, why don't you talk about, I guess, you can talk about the beer you had yesterday, but talk about something else that's happened to you in the beverage world recently. Don't you have a few more to go over from the last time we were running around?
Oh, yeah, and I won't even get through all of those. Yesterday, I had a little work thing and ended up drinking some Coors Light. Enough said. End of that take. Okay? But, so you, sir, are, I guess, aware of this, I don't know, this glorious opportunity. Horrocks is farmer's market, a place you can go to, little farmer's market, do some shopping, and have some beer as you shop.
Right, and that one's a massive one that you've got. I've got the small one.
Yeah,
I've got the huge one.
I get the massive one. I do. So I went there, buying some herbs for the planters for spring, this and that, your thyme and dill and all those sorts of things. But I had to have 2 beers while I was shopping. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of looking for stuff that I hadn't had before. First one, I've heard of this brewery. I've had several things by them. It's Pigeon Hill. I think that's over in Muskegon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, that's over my way.
I had the Grapefruit Shifting Sands. So here's what I'll tell you. It's got some hoppiness in there. It's IPA, right?
Sure.
It drinks very clean. Like, it's kind of light and refreshing and crisp, which was good because I was shopping. It was like 100, it felt like, walking through those little greenhouses. You know what I mean? Because it's it's like humid and sticky.
Yep.
But I think this Grapefruit IPA leans more into like the sweeter, juicier grapefruit rather than like the bitter grapefruit.
Okay.
So like I liked it. I gave it a 3.5, but it was definitely like you eat a grapefruit. Like it's almost like they made a grapefruit IPA, but somehow like tamed down the bitter a little bit. Which
now the question I have for you, right, is how does that compare to kind of like your flagship grapefruit IPA, the M43? Or B43.
Well, M43 is not technically grapefruit, but you do
B43
have
grapefruit. There was
B43 has the grapefruit IPA. Yeah.
Does that one? How does that rate to that one? Because I know you really like the B43 grapefruit.
I like the B43 better because it has more of the hoppy, bitter, tarty vibes to it. But I will say that the B43, and I think it's intentional. They try to make this. It's so like light and refreshing.
They made it more of a hazy.
And No. That's like the M43. The B43s are super like clear and cleanish looking.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm
because
getting those mixed up.
Don't Google it while I go on the second part of my take here. But they do something different with the carbonation or something in it to make it super, like, I don't know, light is what I keep wanting to say. Gotcha. But you'll figure it out. So the second beer here that I had while I was shopping, this one absolutely blew me away. I actually had, I don't know if we'll have the time, I'll save it for the next episode to go over it. I did a 5 different stag batch head-to-head war, right? But we'll have to get into that a different day. Because this beer blew me away, Dan. I don't know that I've had anything by this brewery. It's it's over in, I think, your neck of the woods. It's Kickstand Brewing.
Okay. That's new.
I forget where it's at, but dude, there's a 9.9% ABV Belgian Trippel. Okay, I don't like Belgian beers. You know what I mean. I have not seemed to like the flavor profile. They're just a little overpowering, and I don't know.
Aha, dude, that is why Kickstand is Northwest Detroit. Like, and by Detroit, I mean
thought it was over by you.
No, I mean, and by Northwest Detroit, by the way, I mean like Walled Lake. Up that way, so not really Detroit at all. It's just Detroit area. It's just west of Pontiac, up in that way. So those of you who are familiar with the Detroit area, it's Detroit in the way that the Detroit Lions used to play at the Pontiac Silverdome, which was way the heck outside of Detroit. People who say they're from Detroit and are really from Rochester Hills.
What's that like?
Kind of Detroit.
Is that where it's
Commerce Township.
Okay, yeah. But anyways, I ordered the beer despite knowing I'm not a huge fan of Belgian, especially probably a triple, but they named the beer Long Strange Trip. Now, come on.
You're kind of committed to that, aren't you?
Yeah, a little Grateful Dead vibes there. Come on now. So, dude, I kid you not, I wish I wouldn't have done this take and had you like taste it and you tell me what style of beer it is.
No, okay.
I never in my life would guess it was Belgian anything or triple anything. It's like an awesome hef.
Okay.
It was like an awesome Hefeweizen. Dude, it was
9.9 Hefeweizen.
Dude, let me pull up. What were my tasting notes? I gave this a 3.75. Like I want to go back to get this again. Dude, anyone who knows anything about the hefs, the banana vibe, right? It had all that like sweet bready banana bread, wheat vibes to it. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this thing.
Sure. Yeah, on their website is an effervescent Belgian triple offering complex spice notes from both yeast and hops while finishing dry.
Yeah, I don't got none of that. Unless they poured me the wrong beer.
I mean, possible, right? That'd be hilarious.
This was it tastes like a light-bodied like wheater that had banana nut bread in it.
Well, there you go. Looks like we need to make a trip
loved it.
Over to Kickstand, and we need to get some Commerce Township. That's it's kind of close to over where it's not quite White Lake, where the crazy,
oh yeah, Mardi Gras weekends.
Labor Day insanity has happened. But yeah, I will tell you, I'm going to go over some of the beers that I had before, but I am drinking right now. This seemed like a good one to start off the day. That is an Oddside Blood Orange IPA, and it is exactly what you expect it to be. It's 7%er. It is an IPA. But a little bit darker. It's not clear, but it certainly isn't cloudy. So this isn't a hazy or anything like that. And it is, again, blood orange, grapefruit. Those fruits lend themselves to being great for IPAs, right? Because they have the bitterness already in the fruit, but a little bit of sweetness because it is a fruit. And this one, again, Oddside is by far one of our favorite wild card breweries because you never know what you're going to get out of an Oddside beer. It could be spectacular. It could be too manufactured tasting. It could be just bonkers with the flavor. But this one feels like they nailed it pretty well. I mean, this is sitting at about a 3.25, 3.5. And again, I like blood orange, so that probably helps. But they did a nice job on that one. So no complaints there from Oddside and what they put together. What are you wowing about?
I did some research on that B43.
Okay. What do you got?
So it's a brute IPA.
Okay.
It's a blend that's hop forward character of like the M43, but it's a super low carb dry profile. But check this out. Unlike most IPAs, B43 uses a special enzyme to remove residual sugars, leaving it with only 3 grams of carbs per pint and no residual sugar.
Okay, first off, that means we should drink more of it because it means it's better for you. Less residual sugar, right?
Yeah. I knew there was something different about it. And I knew it was super light and like crisp and refreshing.
Right. But that does track because calling it a brute, right? Brute is the classification for champagne that's the super dry stuff, right? And so it makes sense they're using the same process more or less that they do to remove that sugar from the champagne grapes. They do the same thing to do it however it works through chemistry for the hops. So yeah.
I knew there's something different about it.
It's a great beer. That one's a kind of a litmus test for other grapefruit beers for me. Like if it can come close to that one, we're in good shape. I'm going to wrap up though with the other three that I had on that third nature trip that we took, where I was going over the 6 beer flight that they had. Right. So the other 3 that I had were two IPAs and then the stout. The stout was called the Seoul Stout, and SEOUL because again, this brewery here outside of Grand Rapids has roots in South Korea. Super cool, right? And that one was exactly what you'd expect it to be, right? It is a very standard stout, has the coffee vibes to it, has the chocolatey vibes to it, and they did a nice job on it. They actually do a version of this, and I didn't want to try it because I wanted to stick with what their core was, but they do a version of this where they put root beer in it, and they make like a root beer stout.
Sold.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's actual root beer that waters down the beer. So it's not like they don't brew root beer in with the beer. It's just like they take a beer and put some root beer in it. But still, I'd be willing to try that because I generally tend to like root beer too. So that will probably happen next time I go out there. But it was very good. It wasn't necessarily transcendently amazing, but it's a very solid stout. The other 2, I had their 3 NE IPA. That's literally what it is, the number 3 NE IPA because it's their New England IPA. It was a 3.5. It was Very good, very crushable, very easy to drink. Exactly what you'd expect a hazy to be. Didn't have some of the more unique flavor characteristics some of the other beers did. But again, it was a solid beer that they did very well. And then I had SIPA the DIPA. It was SIPA the DIPA. So it was a double IPA. It was in the Imperial range. I gave this one a 3.5 as well. Because again, it was another one that because again, doubles I like. Fan. You start getting past doubles is when it starts getting a little too sweet or whatever. Sometimes that happens with the double. It didn't happen with this one. This was easy. We will have to hit up Third Nature at some point because it feels like one of those, and this is the reminder, again, for everybody, if you find a tucked away brewery, it might not be, how'd you get rocket ships, dude? That's great. I love that. Zoom is so much fun. Absolutely love how some of that stuff happens. But again,
no idea.
To finish
I like it.
Right? To finish Third Nature, we're going to have to go there sometime. We're going to have to check them out. And again, this is your reminder to check out local breweries. Have a flight. See if you like their stuff. I've been to 2 smaller ones that I hadn't really heard of too much in the past month and a half. One, very average with the beer, and I go back to saying I think their beer lines, their CO2 is a bit dead, so I want to go back again just to check them out. Food was great. Beer was average. But the beer was very solid at Third Nature, so we're going to try them out again sometime. Let's jump to the
Sounds
north,
good.
though.
Especially that root beer vibe.
Right?
Yeah,
we can make that happen.
North. All right, we'll start with Minnesota as we usually do, and then, because we usually start Minnesota and Chicago, right? And then end with the
Minnesota,
teams
Chicago.
We share.
Well, Minnesota and potential Indiana, but we'll get to that in a minute.
All right. Man. Minnesota here. So you were definitely higher on Jordan Addison than I was. I will say that when he plays, he's I don't know. See, he's like Raji Rice vibes light. You know what I mean? Like he's got 2 separate traffic trouble incidences as well.
But so far, it's just traffic. And it's not violating probation and getting yourself put in jail. Which
but he's also doing some illegal things. Yeah.
Well, and the question is, he's another one of those guys. The question becomes, will his play outpace his problems? And this is a huge year for him because of the way that the team
This is the make or break year for sure.
100%.
So I will say light green.
Yeah, he's got to be somewhere in the green because they kept him.
Yes,
they could have moved on from him, and they moved on from other guys.
This could go the other way quickly. We'll see.
This is the year again because if somehow Jawan Jennings outplays him and moves it and keeps him in the 3 spot, that right there is
that won't happen. That won't happen. And the only way that happens is if he gets in trouble again or some sort.
Which who knows? Maybe.
But yes, definitely more green than white. Definitely not red. But then, man, Mekhi Blackman, while he was looking very good and like one of the steals of this draft, because we're all the way in the 3rd round, they didn't have a 2nd round pick. Well, he's with the Colts now. So just based on how we've been doing this, that's got to be red, right? Yeah. So now we're talking about Jay Ward. Okay, 4th round pick. Still on the roster, technically a starter, so it makes you want to say, by definition, green. But dude, he's only started 5 games, and they're all just last year.
Right. Well, and again, how many times did we talk about, boy, they need help in the secondary?
I know.
Coming into this offseason.
So this has got to be just white still for me.
I don't.
Even though he's a starter, like I can't call it green.
Well, dude, I'm looking at Minnesota's thing on like fantasy points because again, like I said, our lads, as much as I love it, refuses to work on my computer. They have Devon Armstead, Jacob Thomas, and Marcus Allen, all 3 rookies starting for them at safety and nickel right now. So that gives you an idea of the shape of the defensive backfield in Minnesota at the moment.
Yep. And then we're on to the 5th round here with Jaquelin Roy, a D tackle out of LSU. And he's got the same birthday as my brother and one of my Huskies. So that's fun.
Well, that's nice.
I don't think he's on a roster right now. He was last with the Patriots, but yeah. It's,
probably practice squad or somewhere.
That's red all day. And now, here we go, moving on. You can tell how their class is going. Another 5th round pick. They had Jaron Hall, a quarterback that came out of BYU.
Yeah.
Last I knew, he was with the Birmingham Stallions.
He played for a minute for Minnesota.
Don't know if he's even there.
I think he played 1 game for Minnesota and did not do well.
Yeah, he was with Minnesota, then Seattle, and last I know, confirmed the Birmingham Stallions.
I take it back. He started 2 games for them.
Look at him.
Completed 13 of 23 passes, or 20 passes. So he's 13 of 20 across 2 games.
Yeah, still a red pick.
Yeah, exactly.
And then one that we were absolutely stoked about because we were huge fans of Dwayne McBride.
As a 6th rounder, certainly.
He was in the 7th round.
Right.
Pick 222. Huge fans, but he's no longer with the team. Hell, he's not even in the NFL. I think Orlando Pirates. Is that the Orlando team?
Storm.
I know he's with Orlando.
Storm. Yeah, that's their old. It's the the Arena League team was the Orlando Storm, and then they moved it into the UFL. Is now the team name is the Orlando.
Wikipedia says Orlando Pirates.
Then that's not even UFL. Then who the heck are the Orlando Pirates? That's a soccer club, sir, or indoor American football team. He's in the indoor league, dude.
It's IFL, dude.
Dude, okay, so somehow, and this is another little rabbit trail for today, somehow there's a indoor league team that is the Orlando Pirates, and there's also, so this is why Google searches.
Here we are.
You
Wheels
need to
are
vet
off.
your Google searches, dude. The Orlando Pirates FC, which is a soccer team, is in the South African Premiership. So they are currently, according to whatever list I'm looking at right now, leading the South African Premiership with 21 wins, 6 draws, and 3 losses this year. So that's how bonkers this episode has gotten, that we're somehow in the South African Soccer League, which, hey, is perfect because the World Cup starts in 5 days.
See?
We'll talk about that next week, though. Because even though it's the other rest of the world's football, I still need to get your take on who you're taking for the World Cup. So you got to think about that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, suffice to say, Dwayne McBride is not playing soccer in South Africa. He is trying to play indoor football in Orlando, and it just hasn't worked out. It's a shame because he seemed like a good bruising running back, and it just never really worked out for him. I don't even know if he made it out of the first year, to be honest with you. And that's 7th round picks. Man, the NFL treats 7th round picks like they're UDFAs for the most part, which is fine to an extent with roster building, but also, it's challenging for those guys. They do not get much of a chance. The leash is very short for that point. Chicago Bears.
That was the end of the Vikings. They are not winning this division.
No, the Chicago Bears, who, as of yesterday, as of a team-wide vote, or I guess the administration for the team vote, may become the Indiana Bears. And as I texted both you and Brad, and my wife's dad,
just the location.
I will refer to them as the Indiana Bears, just like we like to call them the New Jersey Giants and New Jersey Jets. Because if you can't figure things out, and there's a state that's going to give you better tax breaks, you're going to do it in today's NFL. So even though I do believe the Bears would prefer to be in the Arlington Park area because I think there's more space there, I think there's better opportunities for them to do more real estate development, whatever. The city, to their credit, is standing firm on what they need to do or the state is standing firm on what they need to do from a tax standpoint. The Bears want a better tax deal. Hammond, Indiana is like, come on over. There's that little line, it doesn't matter. And Indiana is giving them opportunity. And so somehow the state of Indiana might have 2 football teams, even though they will still be called the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
But I will call them the Indiana Bears out of spite, if nothing else. I know you won't have a problem with that because you don't like them. I like them, and this is out of spite. That being said, I like their 1st round pick. They took Darnell Wright with the 10th pick, which was, again, you got to remember.
You liked him a lot more than me.
If you want to look at this, and I'm going to galaxy brain this for a second. If you look at this draft in the lens of what they got for trading back with Bryce Young, this is a phenomenal draft. We're not going to do that because a lot of those picks weren't in this year, right? But the picks they did make this year, Darnell Wright he had the highest grade of any 2023 tackle last year at 80.3. He was 16th overall. He is a solid right tackle for them, which humorously enough we joked about is he would only be a right tackle because he's a bit of a big boy, right? But he's been a very solid right tackle for them. That's green all day. Javon Dexter with the 22nd pick in the 2nd round. Analytics have been up and down, but the guy's got 13.5 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 115 tackles on the inside. That'll do. That's a green pick for me. He is a starter on their defensive line. Again, analytics hit and miss, but production has been there for them, and I think he's one of the good pieces they have on that defensive line that has clearly needed some help over the course. I mean, again, I still think they need some help. They still think they need at least another edge rusher, but that's not because of this class. It's because of other choices they've made. He is a starter for them. Can't complain about that. Next pick for them, also in the second round, they got Tyreek Stevenson with the 25th pick. And I think one of those two, I can't remember which one of those two was from Carolina in that draft, I believe, or they got it obviously from somewhere else. He's at 7 picks, 216 tackles, 38 passes defensed, and yet a bunch of penalties, not a bunch, but he's had over 5 penalties every season and 14 touchdowns against him. He's a green because, again, he's a starter. He has contributed. But that moment that he had against Washington when he waved off the team and then Washington won on the Hail Mary because he wasn't paying attention, that feels like a weird pivot point for his career, and it hasn't been as good since then. So he's a guy that if he bounces back this year, has a good season, he'll be in good shape. But he's got Malik Muhammad pushing him for that spot as a rookie. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that develops. If he holds on to that starting spot, I can see them extending him. But he also feels like a guy that unless he is transcendent this year for the Bears, is going to get, not let go, but he's either going to get traded or he's just not going to be, they're not going to give him a contract because they grab Malik Muhammad and they think Muhammad can come in and just do just as good of a job. Right now, he's a green though. In the third round, they grabbed Zach Pickens with the first overall pick in the third round. D-line, cut before the start of 2025, cut twice since then, just never really panned out. Thought he could be a fun piece for them. Did not happen. In the fourth round, the 13th pick, they grabbed Roschon Johnson. He's been a decent short yardage back. He's still on the team, so he's a white for me, right? Especially in the fourth round. But he lost carries to Monangai last year, and it feels like he's the extra guy in their backfield. Like he'll get a couple catches here and there, he'll get a couple carries here and there, but he's the extra guy in their backfield. There's a world where he has a good year and somehow hangs around, but I do think that DeAndre Swift is gone after this year for the Bears, but I also think Roschon Johnson is gone after this year for the Bears. So he's a white pick for right now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
31st pick of the fourth round, they grabbed Tyler Scott. Had 17 catches as a rookie, and then got cut before 2025. He's been bounced around practice squads. That's a red. Did not work out. Fifth round, Noah Sewell. Dude finally got some run last year. Of course, we talked about him. He's Penny's brother, and he has not had the same career as Penny. But 59 tackles last year, but his analytics, awful. He's hitting in like the 40s or something like that. He's still a backup after the roster shuffling. He actually started a few games last year, but again, it's pretty obvious the Bears see him as a complementary piece, not as a starting linebacker for that team. He's in the white because he's still on the team. He's still contributing. The 30th pick of the fifth round, Terrell Smith, solid backup in 23 and 24, had the knee injury in 25, kept him out of the whole season, still on the roster. I've got him in white. I don't know if he's going to make the team this year. I'm not sure where he's at with the knee, but the fact that they didn't just cut him and he's still on his rookie deal means he's going to stay in that ballpark. Didn't have a sixth rounder. Seventh rounder. First pick of the seventh round, Travis Bell, had the distinction of being the first player from Kennesaw State to be drafted. And then also had the distinction of being waived as a rookie. Yeah, and then he got waived as a rookie. So did not work out. He's been on a ton of practice squads and has been, that's about the extent of what he's been able to do. And the 41st pick of the seventh round, the 258th pick, which I think might have been the last pick that year, something like that, close to Mr. Irrelevant, but not quite.
Yeah.
Kendall Williamson was cut. Played a game for the Chargers in 2024, and that was the extent of it. But I'm going to check real quick. He was the second to last pick, so he wasn't quite Mr. Irrelevant. He was next to Mr. Irrelevant, and has had an irrelevant career so far. Sorry about that, bud. So, 3 really good picks to start things off, and a pile of not much the rest of the way. So, good but not great draft from Chicago. That being said, better than Minnesota. Let's go to the poops.
Whew, dude, they had 13 picks. This might have been the second most in this whole damn draft.
We're going to have to, we're going to motor through day 3 for the most part, but let's start off with your boy.
Here's the thing. Absolutely not green with my boy. I loved Lucas Van Ness. I was super bummed when they took him. But he's definitely closer to red than white, I think. Yep. The only reason I say white is just because, I know he started 9 of 11 games. No, it wasn't that. What did he start?
He started a handful here and there.
He's only started 2 of 9 games. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. 2 of 9 games this past year. Prior to that, he hasn't started any. So, yeah, he's only got 8.5 sacks in this 3 years, but they've been developing him. The reason he has no shot at green is the 13th overall pick should not be a developmental player. Mm-hmm. So,
look, they wouldn't have traded for Micah Parsons if he was who they wanted him to be to begin with and who you thought he would be to begin with. And he's in an interesting spot right now.
But you could also argue that they wouldn't have traded Rashawn Gary
if he'd been
if they didn't have some sort of faith in Van Ness. So I'm fine with White. We'll see.
Yeah, what's fun is he could get usurped by your boy DDS this year. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be a lot of interesting things out in Green Bay.
Luke Musgraves, this has to be red. First of all, with everybody, we were joking
put him as
about
white
Tucker
because he's
Kraft.
finally healthy. But yeah, I'm fine with it being red.
It's not as a second-round pick, and the fact that he was not even the best tight end they drafted, and we knew that on draft day, and it's been proven so now. So, I definitely red with him for the 42nd pick. Jaden Green, red.
Jaden Reed?
Jaden Reed. I know. I saw Michigan State thinking green and then saw that and said red. So, falling apart here. But, no, he's a green pick. That's
okay, good. I was going to say, it's like, as much as we don't like Green Bay, I was going to argue you if you said he was a red pick.
It's so interesting that they just refuse to, he can't be wide receiver 1, 2, 4, or 5. He's just wide receiver 3 no matter what he does on that team.
Yep.
So, that's interesting. But Tucker Kraft, though.
He's a starter.
Green all day to me.
Yeah. Tucker Kraft.
Even though he's had some injuries, it's a green pick all
That's the only
day.
Question mark for him is the injuries. Looking at this team, you expect Luke Musgrave might play this year, but he's not going to get a second contract. Tucker Kraft will get a second contract.
Yes. And then here's, I guess, where we can power through. I mean, Wooden's on the Colts.
Yeah,
right?
The only good thing for them. Yeah, they got Zaire Franklin in that trade. But that's the only good thing they got out of that. He's still red.
Yeah, he's red. Sean Clifford's with the Bengals. That's red. Dontavian Wicks just left and went to the Eagles. So
now, I am going to make a case for that being a green.
Because of what they got?
Because they got a 5th and a 6th, and he gave him 108 catches in his time.
I was going to call it white because he's not on the team and they got that, but sure. I get it. I'm fine with that. We can call it light green.
They got an extra pick for a guy. They basically swapped 5th-round picks, and they got an extra 6th in it as well. So good for them getting something out of a guy that for whatever reason, they decided wasn't going to be a part of their plan, even though they still have no plan at wide receiver.
Fair. Carl, and then we're in the 6th round. Carl Brooks still on the roster. I think that's just a white, though. You can't. White, we'll see. He's
had 8 sacks, but we don't know what his future is. I don't think the team knows what his future is. When you look at their depth chart, he is a starter for them. But do they?
It's almost
player.
a light green.
He is a player who can play his way into a second contract this year or play his way out of the league this year.
I feel like we should maybe call it closer. At least we got to mention it's closer to green because this is a 6th-round pick here.
Yeah, it is closer to green, definitely. Yeah, again, he is technically considered a starter, and so I would be okay if you wanted to make it green. And plus, obviously, we felt really good about him coming out of the 6th round anyways. We liked him as a small school guy coming out of Bowling Green. You've actually you know a guy who's part of the fam.
His
Brooks
brother worked for me. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, so we're Carl Brooks fans. We just really wished, and this is what I was hoping for Carl Brooks. I wanted him to be good in the NFL, but not so good that the Packers would re-sign him, so I can cheer for him somewhere else next year.
You know, it's funny. We'll figure out if his brother was right on draft day because on draft day. They were convinced, I guess, due to maybe some phone call stuff you don't hear about 6th-round picks, that he was going to Tampa, and that's where he really wanted to go. So we'll see if he really did. Maybe if he does hit the market, maybe he calls up Tampa.
And he is a player
and maybe Tampa was interested. I don't know.
Sure. Well, he's a player that because of, and look, hey, you talk about Tampa. If Kalijah Kancey isn't paying out, they are going to need somebody else on the D-line.
Sure.
So there's certainly a world where that happens for him. And so that'll be fun to play out. We'll see where that ends up at the end of the season.
And then 6th round, man, they took kicker 2, Anders Carlson.
Had an okay first year.
He's with the Birmingham Stallions.
Yeah, he got cut. Kickers get cut like nothing.
That is a red. Now, Kieran Valentine, that's got to be a green. 7th round pick.
He is a green. Yeah, and 2 INTs, 18 passes defense. He's technically a starter, but he is the shakiest starter on their roster. But he's also a 7th round pick.
7th round pick. That's a green all day.
Yeah.
Lou Nichols, fire up, dude.
Fire up in a sad way.
he's a red pick though. He's with the Steelers now. I had it up. I lost.
He's
it.
bounced around
Steelers.
practice squads. Yeah. It's a bummer.
And then Anthony Johnson Jr. He's on the roster of the team you just talked about. So that's a red pick. He's now with the Bears.
Yup.
And I don't know that Grant DuBose is playing for anybody.
Well, he's not playing for the Packers.
Because it says 2026, so this year, Columbus Aviators.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that would be a UFL. There you go.
Mm-hmm. So that's red pick, too.
Yeah. So again, mixed bag for Green Bay.
Here's the thing. You say that, and I was going to say, they got some players that are still on the team and starters out of this, but they also had 13 picks.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you factor that in. I mean, you're bound to hit the dartboard once in a while, right?
1, 2, 3, 4 starters, technically 5 if you want to count Brooks. Brooks
they're winning. Probably.
Starters. They're winning right now.
The Vikings, for sure.
The Bears have got 3 starters that are better than most of the starters on the Packers. So that's a toss up between those 2 teams right now. But that's okay. Yeah, it's all a moot point because we're coming to the team that I'm wearing right now. It is the Detroit Lions. And while they may not catch the Rams, I feel good about them for this division. Go ahead and get us started because they had a killer beginning to this draft.
Dude, the first 4 picks might be the greatest first 4 picks I've seen since we've done this show.
Oh, yeah.
For any one team. I mean, it is absolutely insane. Put it this way, they had, in their first 4 picks, which went out 45 picks in this draft,
right.
They managed to get 3 of my top 16 players in this draft.
Yep.
So clearly on draft day, I graded this very highly, and I still support it. And you know what? I would think that most people, I would not, little foreshadowing, even though I love this, they got 3 of the top 16. And I'll explain later when we wrap this show up. Most people, if Brian Branch and Sam Laporta had not gotten hurt, would have said this is the best draft class in this whole year.
Sure. I believe that.
Firmly believe that. And I'm talking most anybody across the nation. I mean, and we'll get into it. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12th pick. I mean, we just talked about how he could reset the whole running back market. And
real quick, Gibbs, 3 Pro Bowls, 3,500 yards rushing, 39 touchdowns, 181 catches, 1,400 yards, 1,450 receptions, 8 touchdowns. That's insane.
Enough said.
When you put him, he has slightly fewer yards on both the ground and in the air than Bijan Robinson, but he also was sharing a backfield with Knuckles for 2 years. So, yeah, that's crazy. One of the best running backs in the league.
18th pick, Jack Campbell. Could have just reset the linebacker market. Chose not to. Right. Pro Bowl linebacker. Hell,
All-pro linebacker.
A lot of people were saying that last year, I think PFF even graded him out, is the best linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
Last
He
year.
had 402 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. He's the green dot for a decade in Detroit if he wants to be.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere, man. And dude, I got to go look. Where's my boy?
And he feels like we said this when it happened. Obviously, you love Jack Campbell.
I said that he's. I still stand by this. If this is what you're gonna say, never saw a single bad play in Iowa. He never had a bad play. It's crazy.
And also, he seemed like a great Lions guy, anyways. Not just because he has the same last name as the coach, but he felt like he was going to be a great Lion, anyways.
I had him as my 10th best player in this draft.
Right. And I want to point out, like, I quoted those numbers, 402 tackles. You got to remember, he played a little intermittently as a rookie because they were trying to fit him into a square peg and a round hole kind of a thing. Because they knew he was talented enough to be on the field. They just didn't quite have him in the right spot. So, he's crazy good. Second round, Laporta.
Sam Laporta.
Laporta?
I mean,
this is my favorite pick because of the spatula throw. Because you wanted to take Brian Branch.
And it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing against Laporta. I actually liked Laporta a ton. He was the only one who wasn't in my top 16, but I think I had him. He might have been my tight end 1. I just closed that page, or I would tell you. But I just wanted Branch so much because I had Branch as a top. I think he was like my top. He was in my top 6 pack.
Yeah, he was top 6.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Laporta. I mean, he made a
Pro Bowl as a rookie because that was when they had the injuries at wide receiver, and he stepped up. He's got 186 catches, 2,100 yards, 20 touchdowns, and that's missing half a season.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's really, really effing good. And here's the crazy thing:
is good.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, because the sad thing is like with a crazy draft class like this, what is in my coffee? you can't sign everybody. So
Right.
I don't know if he's one of the guys that just unfortunately has to go.
One of
I
these
don't
two
know.
guys is the odd man out here in the second round.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's unfortunate
And,
because
well,
Brian Branch.
unless they do something where, like what if they cut ties with Lee McNeil? They're, Kirby Joseph or something. I don't know, because they're both getting a lot of money and aren't really living up to the contracts.
They've got decisions to make. Kirby Joseph, obviously, because of the knee injury. Of course, he was in the 2022 class. And then Branch with the Achilles. So, again, Brian Branch, the 14th pick in the second round, 258 tackles, 20 tackles for a loss. The only problem with Brian Branch is the torn Achilles.
Yeah,
and that's tough.
Put it this way. Every single game that I watched, every once in a while, I always listen to music when I watch the Lions game. I would see what the commentary was saying, because I was so excited about this class, even a couple years out. Dude, when him and Joseph were healthy, it was unanimous. It didn't matter who was like doing the commentary for the game. Everyone was saying this is the best safety duo in the NFL. And people were saying, like, Brian Branch is arguably, like, up there could be argued as the best. Yeah, they're both hurt, but you get it. So you're talking 4 straight Pro Bowlers.
Yeah. Yep.
That's freaking nuts, dude.
No, it's crazy when you think about, usually you're lucky.
Thank you, Jared Goff.
Right? You're lucky
Stafford,
if you hit.
Goff
right, Matt Stafford, exactly. You're lucky if you hit on 2 or 3 picks in a draft, right? To get all 4 of your first picks right. Man, the only question mark, is who gets deals coming out of this? Because, again, we know Gibbs is going to get re-signed. Campbell's already been re-signed. Laporta and Branch are huge question marks. I think Detroit would love to have both of them on the team, but Branch, I've said this before, and I will say it again. Yes, he's a young guy coming off an Achilles. I believe an Achilles is an 18-month injury right now with the way injury and recovery happens. So I do not think we're going to see normal Brian Branch this year. So if Detroit has their way, what I think you could see, especially because Laporta says he's healthy, if he plays healthy this year, what I think you're going to see is Gibbs get extended 100%. Laporta will get an extension as well if he's healthy and plays like he's been able to play. Branch might end up on either a short extension or a 1 year or something, because I don't think he's going to play much this year. And if he does play, he is not going to be the same Brian Branch, because it takes a while to come back from an Achilles. It just does.
Did you see the video of him flipping tires and doing all kinds of crazy cool stuff the other day?
Yeah, you know what? Flipping a tire means your feet are planted. His feet planted, I'm not concerned about. Yeah. I'm not concerned about his feet being planted. I'm concerned about a twist of any shape or form right now for him. And I want Brian Branch to come back healthy and rocking it. I just don't think it's going to happen this year. In the third round...
I do. I don't know that he's definitely not going to play in the preseason. I don't know if he plays... I don't know if he plays. They have an early bye week, right?
Yeah. So I could see him coming back after week 6 or whatever.
I think they're going to sprinkle him in a little bit just for a few plays, like around the game before the bye week or the one prior to that, and not like just if a couple snaps,
just to get him on the field.
Yeah, then have him rest the bye week and post bye week. Yeah, that's where they're going to unleash.
But again, that's also still, I think, less than a year from the injury. So that it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out for them. Well, they need to be slow with him, which is why I personally wouldn't be upset if he doesn't play this year. I'd be bummed, obviously, because of the team and how much I like him. But I wouldn't be mad. But because of where he's at in his contract, the Lions have to figure out what they're going to do with him, and Branch needs to put himself in a position where he's going to make some money too. So it's a very fluid situation for him. The third round
pick
pick for
Detroit. People are coming back from these things. Like, I know it's a different sport completely, but you know me, I'm a Detroit and Boston guy. Jason Tatum tearing the Achilles and coming back, and like I was terrified he wasn't going to be himself, but he looked good.
Yeah, and again, it's better. The Achilles is the new ACL. Like, the ACL used to be debilitating, and now it's like whatever. You'll be back next year. The Achilles is now kind of in that you're not quite sure how a guy's going to come back from it. So we're hoping he's going to come back well. But again, the first 4 picks, spectacular. The 2 picks in the third round.
First 4.
Flaming red on the 2 in the third round.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker and Broderick Martin are red for sure.
Hendon Hooker threw 9 passes in 2024. He's now like a third stringer in Tennessee. So clearly that didn't pan out. He was always kind of a flyer anyways. And part of the reason why they took him was because people still weren't sold in the organization and around the league on Jared Goff. And then Jared Goff, I don't know, I guess that Michael Jordan meme, and then I took that personally because he's been lights out since that, not because of Hendon Hooker getting picked, but since 2023 he's been lights out. So clearly that worked out. I guess you want to say indirectly, right? But no, he's a red. And then Broderick Martin,
Red.
no, red, 100%. He never really panned out. Got cut before the 2025 season. It just did not happen. He's bounced around practice squads, etc. So
Colby Sorsdale's really green though.
Yeah, again, Sorsdale in the 5th round, right? 17th pick. The leg injury last year was a big reason. Yeah. Leg injury last year was a big reason why he didn't really pan out from last year. He's in a weird spot. He's white for me. I have him at white instead of green. Purely
he's only green because he's 5th round. He started some games, and he's that swing offensive lineman who...
Right, but I also think there's a chance he gets cut this year, depending on how things pan out.
I agree. But we can only go based on today and what he's done to today.
I still got him in the white. I'm fine with him being green. I'm good with that.
He's not like a dark... I mean...
He's not like the other guys, but he's borderline for me. And then the player you forgot they drafted, Antoine Green, with the first pick in the 7th round, had 1 catch as a rookie. This is a guy, I don't know if you remember from the preseason game, had a crazy concussion, neck injury kind of a thing, and that was it. He was done. That was his career. And it sucks, right? When something like that is the reason why a young guy has his career cut short. But this is a violent game, and he unfortunately got on the wrong end of an exchange. So he's a red just because... It is what it is, right? It's an unfortunate red, but it's still a red. So the Lions, 4 greens, a 5th kind of green.
Forest green.
Forest green, a 5th mint green, if you will. Yep. And then 3 picks that were just red. That being said, it's the best in this division. By far.
Yes.
And I think
not even close.
They outweigh Atlanta in the South because
they win
today.
Had
Bijan. Yeah, Atlanta only had Bijan. But here it is. For the NFC, is it the Rams or the Lions? Which is funny because that might be the NFC Championship game this year.
Well, what's crazy is I think, don't quote me, I'm about 99% sure, post the draft, those were my 2 top teams.
Yeah. Well, also, because you were factoring in the Rams in the Super Bowl. So.
And I think I'm sticking with my exact same order. The Rams win because they got the effing Super Bowl. Sure. And that's why that's what you're playing for. So
I would allow that if that was just in the moment for 2023. However, it not only did they win a Super Bowl, they have how many guys still on their roster from that draft class?
Oh, lots.
Like 10?
Lots.
Something crazy like that? No,
they didn't have any picks in like the first couple rounds.
Right. They may not have the high level talent that Detroit does from that draft class. It's debatable.
But they got a Super Bowl ring.
They got a Super Bowl
which Detroit doesn't have in their entire history. So
they don't even have a Super Bowl, much less a ring.
I do have the Rams winning the NFC. I do have the Texans winning the AFC.
Right.
But I also have the Texans in 3rd place overall. Because I would go Rams, Lions, Texans as my top 3.
I think you might be right. Let me take another peek at the Texans real quick because I need to remind myself. Because man, they had a hot start as well. When you look at the players that they took right away, my filter isn't set right, so all of those players are gone. But yeah,
I can tell you.
No, again, because they had C.J. Stroud, they had Will Anderson. That was the big reason. But they also had to trade up to get Will Anderson and give up draft capital. So when you factor all those pieces in, I agree with you. I think it's Rams 1, Detroit 2, Houston 3, which is funny because some people look at those teams as being the teams that are likely to compete for a Super Bowl this year, which makes sense. If you draft well, you're going to compete for Super Bowls. Or if you are the Rams and say F those picks and just take your draft picks and get good players.
Yep.
Which that's the thing for the Rams. For the most part,
it's worked for
players that they've picked the players they picked up for those picks has worked out. So, congratulations to the LA Rams. You won something again since 2022. They are the odds-on favorite for the Super Bowl this year for winning the title because of literally everything that they've done this offseason and the players they've added. So, congrats to them. Anything you want to wrap up with here on the 2023 season?
I was only going to ask you this. Do you remember where, I know, like I said, I'm almost certain my top 2 grades after the draft were the Rams and Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Where did we have the Texans?
I think
it was still pretty high.
We had them up there.
I want to go back and listen to that episode now.
Yeah, we had them up there because we thought that Anderson was amazing. We thought C.J. Stroud was the pick they were going to make anyways. And they had a couple other players in there that were at least,
and I know, I like
mildly
Xavier
entertaining.
Hutchinson. I know he didn't do a lot, but
right. And so when you look at their draft class, we thought Juice Scruggs was going to be good. Obviously, that didn't work out. So, but he would be up there.
Hopefully he is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. He's gonna at least he's some kind of contributor. So I think we probably gave them. They were certainly, I'd say they're top 10. I'm not sure exactly where they were.
I'm going to start the next show with that. I'm going to go listen to that episode today.
Sounds good. Well, the next show and the next couple of weeks, we are flipping the calendar. We are done with the past, sir. We are done with 2026's or 2025's season. We are done with the 2023 past. We are jumping into positional power rankings. We're getting into the college season. We're starting to look forward to the 2027 NFL draft. We'll start that up next week with Draft Grab.